Everyday use takes place between the 60s and 70s in Georgia at a small 3-roomed house with a tin roof that also serves as a pasture. The characters in this story are Mama. Mama is a large, big-boned woman and a skilled butcher. She is a blunt, honest woman who loves her children very much, but sometimes is intimidated by them. Maggie is a small girl with scars throughout her body. She is also uneducated. She is a shy, timid girl, and her scars make her very self-conscious. She is also a selfless girl who takes care of the needs of others more than the needs of herself. This is very different from Dee, as they are pretty much complete opposites. Dee is a strong, educated woman who is searching for personal meaning. Along with this, she is arrogant and self-absorbed, which makes her blind to the needs of others. Plot. The plot begins when Dee comes home to visit Mama and Maggie. Mama daydreams about this, and she daydreams she is on a late-night TV show where Dee is thanking her for all the things she has done for her. She knows this is not true, and Maggie is becoming nervous of Dee's arrival. Maggie tries to keep herself hidden because she is self-conscious because of her scars. Maggie got her scars when their old house burned down. When the house was burning down, Dee was standing under the gum tree just watching it happen. When Dee arrived, she is accompanied by her boyfriend, Hakeem, a barber. Dee takes a picture of the house as soon as she arrives and also tells her mom that she has changed her name from Dee. Mama doesn't understand why she would change her name because she is named after her grandma's, and the name goes very far back in her family. The family sits down to eat dinner, which consists of collards, pork, chitlings, and cornbread. Dee begins to ask Mama for the top of a butter churn. This speaks to Dee's character, as Mama and Maggie are really not in the position to be giving things away as they use them every day, but Dee thinks of these things as the historical value and doesn't see that they use them every day. After dinner, Dee begins looking through a trunk of Mama's in search of more things that she can take back home with her. Dee asks Mama for 2 quilts that Dee's grandma Dee had made. Mama promised these quilts to Maggie, and this upsets Maggie when Dee asked for them. Mama tells Dee to take some other quilts, but Dee doesn't like this because some of them have machine stitching in them, and she believes that takes away from the historical value. She also believes that the quilts are priceless. Mama tells Dee that she had promised to give Maggie these quilts. This insults Dee because Dee thinks that Maggie will just use them as everyday use, and kinda is insulting Maggie's intelligence because she doesn't understand why someone would use these priceless items as everyday use. Dee wants the quilts because of the historical value and doesn't understand that the value that they hold to the family. She wants to frame the quilts. Maggie tells Dee that she can have the quilts. Mama begins to think about this, and she realized that Maggie wouldn't stand up for herself even if she didn't want them to happen. She's just a selfless person, and is also just wants her sister to be happy and proud of her, pretty much. Mama takes the quilts from Dee and hands them and tells her to take some other quilts. Dee tells Mama and Maggie that they do not understand their heritage and that they should try to make something of themselves, and then leaves. this is when the story ends, but some there are like two main themes in this story that I saw. Throughout the story, Dee is very like emotional about her historical oppression in her family and also her race. She has different values and ideas that Maggie and Mama sees as everyday items. Dee fails to see her legacy, her family's legacy, in her name and also just in general. She sees her family's past and does not consider it to be continuous. She just thinks that it ended when her race became liberated. This differs from Mama's idea of heritage. For this reason, she decides the quilts are best given to Maggie because she will use them as for everyday use, as the intended use was. Whereas Dee would just hang the quilts up and show them off to all of her friends, pretty much. Education is also something that divides the family. In this case, it divides Dee from her family, Mama and Maggie, and also Dee from herself. Mama begins to see this, that it could be a risk to her and Maggie's simple life. And the education Dee shares also divides her from herself. She's lost the true meaning of her family heritage. So those are the themes that I saw. And this was my presentation and my thoughts of everyday use. Thank you.